Hello, I'm welcoming everyone today. I'm Brittany Baker, Maryland Director of Chesapeake Climate Action Network. We're an organization that focuses on climate actions and just solutions to the clean energy transition, and also to make sure that we have a stable climate for ourselves and our children. I'm here today to uplift the fact that on April 1st, there were firings here at the HHS building, and those firings included the entire staff of the LIHEAP program. This program is essential across the nation, and so we have built a coalition of advocates, legislators, concerned citizens from the region, Virginia, Maryland, and DC, in order to uplift this issue. But this issue is not specific to us. We are just the closest neighbors ready to activate to bring attention to this issue. So I have 8 speakers today that will give unique perspectives on why this issue is so important to us, our solution that we're calling for, and the impacts if this solution is not enacted. And I want to begin with Olivia Wine and Mark Wolf.
Thank you, Brittany. Hello, my name is Olivia Wine, and I'm a senior attorney at the National Consumer Law Center. Thank you for coming out today to hear these good people from Maryland, Virginia, and the District of Columbia speak about the urgent need to protect the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, also called LIHEAP. LIHEAP is a life-saving energy assistance program that has helped over 6 million households a year to heat their homes in the bitter winter and provide life-saving air conditioning in the sweltering summers. LIHEAP provides targeted assistance to seniors, individuals with disabilities, and families with very young children. Energy assistance prevents disconnections, it helps to fix broken furnaces in the middle of winter, and it helps to weatherize homes in combination with the federal weatherization program, which also needs to be protected. You'll hear about the threats to LIHEAP, the impact of this program to local families, and the importance of energy assistance in Maryland, Virginia, and the District of Columbia as a microcosm of the whole country. Thank you for coming out, and I'm turning the mic over to our next speaker, Mark Wolf.
Thank you, Olivia. I'd like to thank everyone today for attending today's rally. I really appreciate everyone being here. I've asked myself the question, why are we here? There are lots of reasons. First, we're here today because Secretary Kennedy recently fired the entire staff that manages the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP. It's a life-saving program that pays heating and cooling bills more than 6 million very low-income families across the United States. All 25 federal employees who manage the program are fired. Why do we need LIHEAP? Energy is expensive. The average low-income household spends about 9% of their income on energy bills, 3 times the rate of other families. In fact, 1 out of 6 American families now, low-income families, are behind on their home energy bills. The total amount these families owe is about $21 billion. It's the highest level since 2021. At a time when so many families are struggling to make ends meet, and tariffs are poised to drive prices even higher, it's heartbreaking to rip away the help that Congress has already offered to people in need. We have 2 immediate concerns. First, the Trump administration is sitting on almost $400 million in LIHEAP funds that can be allocated to the states. Those funds would help about 750,000 across the country pay their cooling bills this summer, and about 40,000 households, in the Maryland, Virginia, and DC areas. These areas alone will receive about $20 million of those funds, so it's essential that they be released. We recently wrote a letter to Secretary Kennedy urging him to rehire the staff and to release the funds. Secretary Kennedy knows the loss of LIHEAP staff is a real problem. He told a group of reporters that his department may have overreacted, telling them personnel that should not have been cut were cut. We're reinstating them. We are waiting. They have not been reinstated. Secretary Kennedy should admit his mistake and immediately rehire the remaining staff and release the $400 million to save lives and support American families who need it the most. Thank you. I appreciate everyone who's here. And this is how we get action.
Thank you, Mark. And now I'm going to bring up three speakers who are really going to give vivid imagery about how this program serves households materially. And so these speakers will go in succession: Dana Wiggins, Venus Little, and Brandy Nealon.
Good morning. My name is Dana Wiggins. I'm with the Virginia Poverty Law Center as the director of our Affordable Energy Project and the Center for Economic Justice. So, as you've already heard, LIHEAP is a critical program for health and safety of so many, particularly the elderly. Nearly 20% of Virginians struggle to pay electricity bills, with nearly a third of them, more than a third of them, paying more than 13% as far as their energy burden. So cuts to the federal program staff signal a threat to the larger program funding as a whole, and as we are still in the throes of assisting folks, even as from this past winter's extreme weather bills. LIHEAP closes the gap for many households to afford their utility bills, preventing illness and even evictions. Without it, many would fall behind on their utility bills, increasing the likelihood of large arrearage balances, balance accumulations, and even shut-offs. Utility customers have very little control over the cost that they have to pay for their utility service. The rates are set based on the utility's costs and investors and the market, not on whether it's affordable to the people paying the bills. LIHEAP ensures that the most vulnerable maintain access to essential utility service. Take Becky from Roanoke, who depends on cooling assistance, or Doris, a widow in Pulaski, for whom both the LIHEAP utility bill assistance and crisis funds helped her resume her non-working HVAC system, but also helped bridge the gap while things were in the middle, to bridge the gap of an $800 bill to her utility company. Both of them were elderly, living on fixed incomes, and LIHEAP really made the difference to help them make their utility payments and avoid shutoffs. Here's what some recipients have had to say about the program as an integral part of the assistance package they needed to catch up on their bills while waiting for other types of assistance like weatherization. Larry and Patsy in Pounding Mills said of the assistance, this program improved our health and safety. The program saved our lives. Without it, we would have become homeless. As often, utility shutoffs are the reason to evict people. For Sheila, a mom from Hampton Roads, where LIHEAP mitigated the succession of escalating up to $600 bills while waiting on her first full paycheck in transition to a new and better job. LIHEAP saved her ability to pay her rent and still make her utility payment so that she wouldn't be evicted and could actually be successful. Having electricity isn't a luxury; it's a necessity for everyone, regardless of their income. So please, I hope that we can make sure that it's accessible to all and available for all for years to come.
All right.
Thank you, Ira. Good morning, you all. My name is Venus Little. I'm the president of my tenant association, Tyler House Apartments. I'm also on the UCAN program of Office of the People's Council. We are here because we have a major issue with our new administration taking away the LIHEAP program, which have saved so many lives in the District of Columbia and so many families in the District of Columbia. And we will not stand for that. We will not tolerate them to take our funds, who has been saving and supporting lives for many, 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 many years. We know about changes, but these changes that they have made has been a big burden and made a hardship on our families for us to continue to thrive and live. So we cannot stand down. We must stand up for what we believe in and what we support. I was introduced to the LIHEAP program years ago when I was working as a teacher's aide, and I never used to want to go out to use government assistance, try to make it on my own. I could not do that when my electric was terminated. My electric was terminated. A friend introduced me to the LIHEAP program, and from there on, the LIHEAP program has saved me and my family life. I have been using this program for many, many, many years. I have never missed a year in applying. If I did not get that funds, that's because they ran out of funds. That means it needs to be more funds implemented in the program for it can pursue and go on and help save other family lives. So we do need more money in this program, but we surely don't need them to take it away.
Right.
This new administration do not need to take this funds away from this program. This program needs to stay in place, and it needs to be more money put in it for it can support more families throughout the year, because it didn't at first, but guess what? If you take it away, then it's not going to support no families. It's not going to support no families. It's not going to support a family like me. Like I said, there are many, many families who need it, from low income to very low income, zero income, moderate, income families in this District of Columbia. We need those funds. If you take those funds away from us, we will not have anything to support us. Like I said, I was a working mom trying to do it on my own, and it just didn't make it when my electric was terminated, and I had to turn to that program. So we never know when we might need this type of program that already exists, but then when this new administration comes and they take it away, where will we be at? This is a life-saving program for us. We can't have them just come and take this program away. So what we're doing here today, and the folks that's gathered here today, and I'm glad that they are here, and I'm glad that I am here, for I can show up and show them that this program needs to stay. It needs to be more implemented in our lives. We gain support from this program. A lot of families gain support for this program. And if it go, guess what? Where will we go? Where will some families like us that need this program? Where we go? Like I said, once I was introduced to this program, I was so happy that on a yearly basis, this program helped me pay my utilities. It helped other people pay their water bills. It helped other people get things done in their homes, far as windows, window framing, building the new structured doors and stuff like that. This program is a must. It must stay. We have to be here. So I just want to say that for this program to continue, for it to thrive, for it to prosper, we must do just what we're doing here. And if we have to do it on a monthly basis till they bring it back, that's just what we would do. We cannot allow this program to leave. We cannot allow them to take this program away from the district residents here. I will not. So if you have anything else that you want to invite me to be supportive of this program, I will. Because this program has supported me since the early 2000s when I got on this program, and I've been applying for this program for year after year, and it's a must stay. We demand that they keep this program in existence. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Brandy Nealand, and I'm the Director of Consumer Assistance with the Maryland Office of People's Counsel. Our lawyers and advocates represent Maryland residential ratepayers, their interest, wherever utility service decisions are made. And I'm here today with everybody else saying that LIHEAP is a lifeline. This program year alone, over 100,000 Marylanders relied on this program to keep their power on. And as the Maryland's residential ratepayer advocate, not only do we have to be concerned about these 100,000 people that use this program, but we also have to ask, if those LIHEAP funds disappeared, what would happen to all those unpaid bills? And that's actually a question that impacts everybody, because those unpaid bills just don't get absorbed as a loss by the utility. They actually become something known as uncollectibles. And then that amount of money gets baked into the rates for the future. So in fact, every single Marylander will pay more money in their rates. Now, right now we're talking about these threats to LIHEAP cuts, and it's kind of terrible timing on top of everything, because it's just as all the major utilities in the state, we've seen their rates dramatically rise. And it's right before the hottest months of the year. So I think anybody in Maryland knows that we've seen some of the highest winter utility bills on record. And so there's a ton of people behind in these bills. And if we're going to be starting to cut people off right before these summer months, we're putting a lot of people in a dangerous situation. My office has recently seen the highest call volume for help in its history. And with only 2.5 people on our kind of consumer assistance unit answering these calls for help, we've actually had to divert resources from other important work to help these people. And most of the times, we're connecting them to programs like LIHEAP. Just as an example, I literally just spoke to a woman in her 80s who is juggling multiple medical conditions. She had a $1,200 bill for 2 months of utility service, December and January. And she was terrified when she called. She was terrified about what she was going to do to pay this bill, but then also how was she going to stop this cutoff in the future? Now, thankfully, to LIHEAP, which is a program that helps pay people's heating bills, we were able to connect her with that, and most of that bill was cleared, and she's going to be okay. But she is not a unique case, and there are so many Marylanders that are facing this fear right now of being shut off, especially looking at those old winter bills. So threatening to cut a program like LIHEAP is just devastating generally, but doing so right now as utility bills have peaked in price and what we could be approaching what could be like another dangerously hot summer, it could possibly have life-threatening consequences for thousands of our most vulnerable neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who just spoke and really spoke to why this is important for households. And now we're going to zoom back out. As I stated earlier, 104 legislators signed on to our sign-on letter to speak to why is this important specifically in Maryland and DC and Virginia. And so I have Delegate Lorig Charkoudian, Delegate Shin, Delegate Sullivan, and Councilmember Allen, who will come to the podium and speak about these issues particular to the communities they serve.
Thank you very much. Thank you to this extraordinary coalition for coming out. My name is Delegate Lorig Charkoudian. I represent Silver Spring, Tacoma Park, and White Oak in the Maryland General Assembly. And I'm here because far too many of my constituents have to choose every month between paying an electricity bill and buying prescription meds. They have to choose between paying the rent and paying their heating bill. They have to choose between groceries and keeping the lights on. And that is my constituents, but it is people all over this country. It is 6 million people all over this country. It's more than 6 million people all over this country. And I am here with them and to speak up for them because it is my job as a state legislator to make sure that we have policies in place in Maryland that protect those ratepayers, that protect those vulnerable community members. But we can't do it alone. We need the federal government. This year, the Maryland General Assembly took some really important steps to address rising electricity and energy bills. We took some really important steps to address short-term, medium, and long-term utility rate structure and utility making, and long-term, the clean energy transition that is ultimately going to create predictable and lower bills. But we know that in the short term, in the medium term, the prices are still too damn high, and we need money to get people to be able to pay their bills. In Maryland, we supplement that money. We put state money into it. We put Reggie money into it. We put other money into it. We put ratepayer money into it. But we cannot do it alone. We need the federal government in partnership with us. We need LIHEAP in partnership with state governments to make sure that we are putting enough money into people's energy bills to keep the lights on. We are talking about our most vulnerable neighbors. We are talking about people with critical medical needs. We are talking about people who, without air conditioning, will die this summer. And we can do something to prevent those deaths. We can distribute the money that is in holding right now. We can put those people back in their positions to write those checks, and we can get that money out, and ultimately we're calling on Congress to protect the money going forward. We can save lives, we can work in this partnership between state and federal, and we're asking the federal government to continue to be our partner, as you have been for decades, to save lives in our community and protect the most vulnerable people.
Yeah.
Woo! Oh, oh!
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Irene Shin, and I represent the 8th District in Virginia's House of Delegates, which is the town of Herndon, Chantilly, and parts of Fairfax County. In 2024, the Commonwealth of Virginia received $113 million in support for LIHEAP programs, and that impacted 216 families across the Commonwealth. In Fairfax County alone, that was 3,631 families who received help and support to keep their homes cool during the summer and their homes warm during the winter. Of those families statewide, that was a pretty big number, 216,000 families. 115,000 of them had a senior citizen in their home. 127,000 of them had at least one household member who was a person living with a disability. And 38,000 of them were homes that had a young child under the age of 6. So we heard a little bit about families who are faced with impossible decisions, choosing between paying rent, paying their energy bills, paying prescription drugs. And those are decisions that families shouldn't have to be faced with and forced to make. LIHEAP is a critical program that has been supporting families and saving lives for years and decades. And as we've heard from all the speakers before me, it's a critical program that helps Virginia families. The elimination of LIHEAP would jeopardize utility assistance that prevents low-income families, senior citizens, folks living with disabilities, and kids from having safe homes. Because in Virginia, we also know that 28% of families last year chose between food and medicine and utility bills. The reality is in Virginia, LIHEAP only covers 25% of families that are eligible. What that tells us is that what LIHEAP currently funds at, those levels aren't even enough to fill the need. And to think about cutting those funds right now and not distributing those funds, the funds that are already appropriated to LIHEAP, is unconscionable. This issue of keeping LIHEAP going and making sure we're supporting the most vulnerable members of our communities isn't just about good policy, right? It's not just about compassionate policy even. It's actually just about common sense and public safety. And that's why we're here today. I'm really proud to join this coalition of legislators and advocates from across the DMV region to lend my voice to say that we really need LIHEAP in existence. We urge the Secretary to allocate and appropriate those funds that are already in his purview, and to make sure that we can support those most vulnerable in our communities. Thank you all so much.
Good morning. First, I want to thank my friends at CCAN, Delegate Charkoudian, for putting this together today. I also want to thank Dana Wiggins and her team at the Virginia Poverty Law Center, who just worked tirelessly and incredibly effectively to help people in Virginia who are in need of this kind of assistance. It's been a remarkable, whatever it is, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, feels like forever. It's been a remarkable time recently, and the word you hear so often is uncertain. There's uncertainty out there about what's next, what's going to happen next, what's going to be our role in the world, what's going to happen on the stock market. There is no uncertainty here. We are certain that what's happening here with LIHEAP is an awful idea. We are certain that the people in Virginia and around this country that need this help have to have this program preserved and restored. We are certain that if this is a mistake, the Secretary has to admit it and reverse that mistake. We are certain that if it's not a mistake and it's being done on purpose, they have to change their mind. They have to preserve this program. So thank you for being here today. Again, thank you all of the folks that are up here on the stage. This is an enormously important issue, one of very many. But today, we're focused on LIHEAP, and we have to preserve this program. So thank you very much for being here.
Good morning. We'll lift this up a little bit. All right, I'm the last speaker, so I think I got to make sure I bring this home. Thank you to CCAN and this coalition and partners for creating this event today. My name is Charles Allen. I'm the Ward 6 Council member. I represent the areas of Mount Vernon Triangle, Noma, Capitol Hill, Southeast, Southwest, in fact, exactly where you're standing right now. A moment ago, you heard with real power and passion Ms. Little talk about how important this program is. She's not only a constituent of mine, she's a leader in our neighborhood who brings voice and power to why this is so important. Now, in the District of Columbia, 18,000 households depend on LIHEAP to make sure that the heat stays on in the winter, that the air conditioning stays on in the summer. But let's get past the acronyms and the big numbers, and let's focus on Ms. Little and 18,000 households just like her, that this makes a material difference in their lives. This makes sure that people can afford to live in this very city and across this entire region. This program is life-saving. Now, I also think we got to not pretend what this is all about. Right now, these guys are trying to find every cut that they can make to try to pad the budget so that the guys down the street can write a tax break for billionaires. I know which side I'm going to stand on. These are critical dollars for our community, for DC residents, for Maryland, for Virginia, and for households across our entire country. It is an abomination that this is a program they want to cut. So we are standing today in one voice, in one very clear voice. This is not a partisan issue. This is bipartisan leadership. Republicans, Democrats, Independents have all come together to say this has to be fixed. Release the $400 million that you got bottled up right now to get out into our communities. Rehire all those staff to make sure that they get the job done and work with us, and make sure that we hear every voice in one loud chorus. LIHEAP and all of these life-saving programs have to be preserved, have to be saved, and it has to happen right away. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And to wrap it up, we have two more voices. We're really glad to be standing in solidarity today. We have Kentasia Scott from the DC Office of People's Counsel, and also Scott Gottbrett.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Kentasia Scott, and I serve as Assistant People's Counsel for the DC Office of the People's Counsel, DCOPC. We are the utility consumer advocate for district ratepayers.
That's right.
Through this work that we've been doing at DCOPC and our sister organizations in Maryland and Virginia, we understand firsthand the importance of the LIHEAP program for utility consumers. Many ratepayers in the district are currently facing difficult financial choices and circumstances that are making them to make difficult choices about what they can and cannot afford. Consumers should not have to choose between paying for life essential heating and cooling services versus other essentials such as groceries, housing, education, healthcare, and medicine. People should not have to choose between light and life. Recently, the district's Department of Energy and Environment, which administers the LIHEAP program here in the district, stopped accepting applications for the LIHEAP program for the program year. This is just a short 5 months into the program year here in the district, meaning that we are approaching summer temperatures with no LIHEAP funding. That, just like many other advocates up here have said, the need is actually exceeding the amount of money that's being appropriated right now for this program. And I'm sure that this situation is likely similar for many states across this country. As a consumer advocate and lawyer who sits before public utility commissions and across the table from utility companies, I can echo the comments of my Maryland OPC colleague that LIHEAP helps all ratepayers be able to maintain and afford their electric and gas services. It is very important for all ratepayers and their pockets that LIHEAP continue to flow to local administrators. Today, this coalition of legislators, advocates, and concerned utility consumers calls on the Secretary to reinstate the 25 employees who administer the LIHEAP program and run the $4.1 billion LIHEAP budget, and so that they can also get the remaining $400 million that's left in the budget for this current fiscal year. We also urge that LIHEAP continue to be adequately and appropriately funded so that households can avoid disconnection of utility services and remain safe in their homes with affordable and reliable cooling and heating services. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Scott Gottbrett with the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. I want to talk about a different aspect of the program this morning, which is besides just the energy assistance that low-income families so desperately need, We also administer a portion of the program that provides those heating and cooling systems from the very start that are necessary to keep temperatures under control in people's homes, and the energy efficiency upgrades and insulation that's necessary for families to combat skyrocketing energy costs. People die without protection from the elements, especially medically vulnerable individuals like children and seniors. This is not a red or blue issue, this is a human issue. Since 2015, our agency has administered funding to provide 5,600 households with heating and cooling systems and 5,000 households with energy upgrades and insulation necessary, and there's hundreds of people on the wait list just with the existing resources. Energy costs are rising, and insulation and energy efficiency upgrades are a critical way for families to keep pace with those rising energy costs. The low-income households lack the capital resources necessary to upgrade their households to deal with those rising energy costs, and this provides much-needed resources and supplies for those families to stay afloat. Cuts to staffing for LIHEAP staffing will result in funding delays and cripple the program. This will also hurt the businesses that implement those housing upgrades. We urge you to restore staffing and release the funding that's already been appropriated for this critical program.
Thank you. So to wrap up today, we'll be delivering our letter, and this coalition is going to continue to stand up and stand strong to see this program forward. Thank you.